coming tonight. Hopefully tonight we will sort of allay any worries or fears that you may have in regards to Key Stage 4, years 10 and 11, and the subject choices that your child is going to have to make over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully you'll see that there's plenty of opportunity to find out more information. There's plenty of opportunity for you to discuss with key members of staff any issues that you might have. And actually, at this point in time, all we're really interested in knowing is what your child is interested in doing. OK, so we will be putting out a list of more subjects than we're likely to offer. But really, we want to see what are going to be the popular choices. What is it that the young people in this school want to do, and then we'll try and tailor our curriculum to make that happen. OK, so I suppose it's quite obvious that GCSE results follow you around. I'm going to keep on repeating tonight that actually a lot of the hard work's been done, because the most important subjects are already chosen for your child. So English, maths, sciences, those are the subjects really that and you'll see this later, that will get your child virtually onto any college course that they want to get on. OK. A lot of young people over the years have said, sir, I have to do child development. And you turn around and say, so, but why do you need to do child development? Because I want to be a midwife, sir. And you say, well, that's fantastic. But actually, if you go and look at what the college want to go on to childcare level 3, the next level up, you don't have to have studied childcare in secondary school. You have to have good maths, English and science. OK, but you can actually pick it up at college. If it interests you and it's something that you're going to be motivated to do well in, then that's different. Then it's worth looking at. But if you're picking something just because you think you need it for a career, that's not always the case. Maths, English, science will always do that for you, and that's why we put so much time into those subjects. OK, so the process we're going through. This is the pathways process. So we launched pathways or options or whatever you want to call it 2 weeks ago to year 9s. They received very much a very similar presentation to the one that you're receiving tonight. That was followed up the week before half term, or in fact the week before that, with subject assemblies, where all the subjects on offer next year presented a short video or a short presentation about what the subject entailed, and there was the opportunity for your child to ask questions and find out a little bit more. OK, we're now at the point, as you see the next green box there, where it's now the parent information evening, which is tonight's event. OK, next Wednesday is our parents' evening, and our parents, our online parents' evening booking system is now live for you to make appointments with not just only staff whose subject your child might be interested in, but also maths, English, science staff as well, because like I say, those are vitally important, and it's important that those are your priority with your child as a parent. OK, so that's online, and that's next Wednesday from, and Mr. Cattan is going to correct me if I get this wrong, 4:30 till 6:30. He'll pop it in the chat if I've got that wrong. OK, and like I say, so you'll be able to, for example, if your child's interested in an art and design subject, you'll be able to book an appointment with their art and design teacher. It doesn't matter which one, it's whichever one they have, and you will be able to discuss their suitability for that subject, or find out a little bit more. OK, now once you've had that opportunity to speak to staff, if you wish, you might already have clear ideas about what your child wants to do. Then you have a bit of time then to think, a few days to think, and then there will be an online form that we will ask your child and yourselves to complete. And like I say, it's just really at this point in time, what are the things that you're interested in doing, and some reserves. OK, we will then go away and see whether we can make that work. And after that, we will have individual pathways interviews with your child. And most of the time, if we can make it work, it's just a case of saying, yes, we can offer you those subjects. Do you still want to do them? Yes, sir, I do. And we tick it off, and we sign it off, and we send a confirmation out to yourself. OK. So like I say, we are offering more subjects than we will actually run in September. So the reasons why a subject might not run is mainly down to numbers. Okay, so for example, if only 3 people choose enterprise and marketing, I can't run a GCSE group on 3 people because the cost of staffing that it's just not effective. Okay, and so we're looking for group sizes in the option subjects of 20, 22 in order to make a subject viable. Sometimes in the practical subjects, such like performing arts, we might come a little bit lower on that, but on the whole, we need to make sure that there's a group size that makes it work. If for any reason your child picks a subject that we cannot run because there's not enough young people to do it, we will always come back to your child and ask them what else would they like to do. Yes, they'll have picked a reserve subject, something, a backup, but we'll never just jump straight to the backup subject. We'll always come back and say, actually, you know, I see we're not running iMedia. I see your backup subject was art and design. Do you still want to do art and design instead? And that, yes or no. If the answer is no, then we say, okay, well, okay, if you don't want to do art and design, let's have a look at what else you could do. All right, so very much done alongside you and in conversation with you and in discussion with you. All right, we will avoid at all costs just putting your child in a subject. That's something I firmly believe in, that we don't do that. Okay, and once the whole process is sorted, hopefully by Easter, we'll send you a letter out then that will confirm those choices for September. All right, so let's have a look at the Key Stage 4 curriculum. Okay, so your child is going to study 8 GCSEs altogether. That's dictated by the Department for Education. Schools across the whole country are binded by this thing called Attainment 8. Your child's attainment, their achievement across 8 subjects. Okay, and if we did 10 subjects, 2 of them wouldn't count. Yep, if we did 7 subjects, we'd be 1 short. So we need to make sure that we are offering a group of 8 subjects to your child that not only will get your child onto any college course that they want to go onto, which is the most important thing, but also means that actually when Pegasus is judged against other schools, we are hitting the same benchmarks as other schools in that respect. Okay, so the first one, and they're called buckets. It's not a particularly nice term for them, but in the first bucket is English and maths. Okay, they are the core subjects, and they double count in terms of their importance for us as a school. But actually, you'll see later on as well, they are the biggest hitters for getting your child into post 16. So that's English and maths. So that's our first 2 subjects. Okay, and then we've got the second bucket, which is 2 sciences. Which is combined science, which so you will study biology, chemistry and physics, but it's equivalent to 2 GCSEs altogether. Okay, so 2 sciences and then a humanities. So this is where your child's first choice comes in. They have to consider whether they are best at history or geography, or they enjoy history more than geography, or enjoy geography more than history. And it used to be the case with history and geography that if you had somebody who didn't like writing long answers, but could take information from graphs and maps and diagrams, then geography was the one to go to, because you didn't have to write as much. That's not the case anymore, unfortunately, with these new GCSEs. There are long answer questions in both history and geography, which is why really we've got literacy for life in 7 and 8 to build those extended writing skills. So humanities, history or geography. History, a lot of source work, long essay style questions. Geography, a lot of data response style questions where you're given a map or a diagram and you're asked to describe a pattern and explain why it happens. You could argue that history links very or more closely with English, and if you have a natural flair for English and English literature, then history can be a real strength. Whereas geography lends itself to those young people who are potentially better at science, like finding out and exploring it, and that sort of person. But again, there is no right or wrong really. You know, you've got to look at it and say, what am I best at? What do I enjoy the most? Okay, so that's the first choice, and it's in box 2 there, and it really comes down to, am I going to do history or geography? So quite a simple choice to make. All right. And then we've got bucket 3. So now we're up to 5 subjects. We've got English, mathematics, 2 sciences and a humanities. That's 5 subjects in the bag. And so now we're looking for our remaining 3 subjects. Now, one of them for every child is English literature. We have to study English language, and we have to study English literature, and that's 2 GCSEs worth. So the first English is in bucket 1, and then English literature pops into the last one there. So that's our 6th subject, English literature. Okay. And then essentially your child has 2 other picks. So in essence, you could view this as your child has 3 choices of subject. History or geography is 1 choice, and then they get 2 other subjects. And at this point in time, we are giving you free choice over all the remaining subjects about what your child wants to do. Okay, so this is where we bring in Mr. Lander's first set of rules, really. When you're discussing this with your child, if they are turning around and saying, I really want to do that subject because that teacher, I really like that teacher. Yeah. Just a word of warning there. You know, there is no guarantee. You know, my staff are all very good, but you know, some invariably leave, go on to new opportunities, and just because your child's got that teacher this year might not mean they've got that teacher next year. Likewise, in departments where there's maybe 3 or 4 history teachers, they might really like their history teacher this year and choose history because of that, but they might not have that teacher next year. So really, they've got to love the subject. They've got to enjoy the subject, not just the teacher. Okay, so that's the first thing that we really need to consider. The second thing you really need to consider is not to choose, or please try not to let your child choose a subject because their best friend wants to do that subject. Again, if I take art and design as an example, we have 2 art and design groups, and they're on at different times in the timetable. And it might be that your child's friend is in the other group, and so they will never have their art lessons together. All right, so if they're choosing the subject because their friends are doing it, again, that's a bit of a no-no, and really they should be they should avoid doing that. Okay. So again, don't choose a subject because you think your whole career life depends on it, because invariably maths, English and the sciences will be the one that gets you there, and we'll look at some examples of those in a bit. Okay, so that's essentially it, and I'm sure you agree it's more simple than it comes across. 3 choices, history or geography is 1 choice, and then at this point in time, just 2 other choices from the list that we will put out, and the options booklet that we will put out in the next few days. Okay, so there is something alongside that called the English Baccalaureate. Now, some of you, the English Baccalaureate is if you choose a certain combination of subjects, you get an additional certificate, an additional award called the English Baccalaureate. And it's for those young people who choose the most academic subjects. So if you're considering A-levels at possibly Dudley Sixth or King Ed's, and you're looking at a future whereby universities something you want to consider, then the English Baccalaureate is something maybe you should consider. Again, we're only going to guide and advise. We're not going to dictate and say you must do this. All right. So the English Baccalaureate is academic route only, and there's a strong focus on the core subjects of English, maths, science and humanities, which is what all of our young people are doing, but to achieve the additional qualification that goes alongside, which is a gold standard route, really, a gold standard pathway, there's got to be languages alongside that. There's got to be French alongside that. Okay, so how that will work is your first box is the same, English and maths. Yeah, we know we're making you do that because those are the most important subjects. We're making you do 2 sciences. You're going to pick history or geography, okay? And then what will happen is English literature, as before, fills the first slot there. You would then choose French as one of your options. Okay, so now you've achieved the English Baccalaureate, because if you pass all those subjects, you get the additional qualification, the additional award that says, I have done the most academic GCSEs, and places like King Ed's and Dudley Sixth hold those academic GCSEs in quite high regard. Okay, and then you would still be able to choose another subject, an arts or performing arts or a 3D design or hospitality and catering alongside that. Or you could choose another academic GCSE, something like sociology, if you so wish, if that's the way you want to work. Okay, so that's the English Baccalaureate, and I have asked Miss Thibault and Miss Harding, our new French teacher, to identify a group of about 30 young people who we think are gifted in languages. And again, it's guiding, it's discussing, it's advising. Yes, we will have the conversations, but really, if it's going to give you sleepless nights about picking a language, then we're not going to force you into that. Okay, but like I say, if you have aspirations for real academic A-level courses and university, then the English Baccalaureate is something that you might want to consider. Okay, so that's that. Like I say, this is recorded, so if you do need to watch this back at a later date, we'll put this onto our website. Okay, I'm going to skip past this one because I think I'm going to just skip to the next bit. So I did some research today because I want to keep on hammering home that actually the hard work in getting you to college will be in your English, maths and science. Okay, so what I've done, I've been to the King Edward's Sixth College website, which is in Stourbridge, which quite a lot of our young people go to do A-levels, and I've picked some subjects there for A-level, and we're looking at what the special entry requirements are. So, for example, we don't offer computer science in school. We don't do a GCSE in computer science. Yeah, but as you can see there, that actually doesn't matter. All right, it's a grade 7 in GCSE maths that's the entry requirement to that course. All right, so it doesn't matter whether you've done an IT qualification, you might, or iMedia or GCSE computing that some schools offer. It actually doesn't matter if you've done those. King Edward's are looking at, have you got a grade 7 in GCSE maths due to the logic base of the A-level programme. Okay, if you have a look there at A-level drama and theatre studies, we are really passionate about getting a performing arts group, a BTEC performing arts group this year. And if you have a talent and if you love those areas, and I know we don't get a chance to do that too much in Key Stage 3, but if you really have a passion for that, we really want one to run, because we have really strong staff in those areas, really strong staff in those areas who can get amazing results. And we haven't had a drama or dance group for a couple of years now, and we really want to get that back. But you can see there, if you wanted to do A-level drama, it says GCSE grade 5 in either English or English literature. Okay, you don't have to have a BTEC in drama or a GCSE in drama. That doesn't matter. It says some experience of performing essential. So you might be part of a theatre group outside of school, but you might not have done GCSE drama in school because we don't offer, because a school doesn't offer it. It's not going to stop you getting to A-levels. Not having a grade 5 in English or English literature will do. Okay, and you can see there the same with A-level biology. Some people have been asking about triple science, separate sciences, separate GCSEs in biology, chemistry, physics. We are doing the combined course this year, which is 2 GCSEs combined across all the sciences, because we've lost so much time due to COVID. Trying to do the 3 separate sciences is going to be too much. So, but you can see there, 2 grade 6s in combined science is equally as good as you getting a grade 6 in your separate biology science. So again, that focus on getting good grades in those math, English and science GCSEs. And the last one there, A-level fine art. Art, I think art is one of the exceptions to the rule, because to go on to a level or a level 3 art program, you do tend to have a GCSE it usually says art related subjects. So that can be art and design, that can be 3D design, that can be photography. Okay, and you can see there it's GCSE grade 5 in art and design. However, even with that, there's a caveat that says applicants who have not studied it at GCSE may be offered a place on the basis of a satisfactory portfolio of artwork. So even again there, if you haven't done a GCSE in art and design, if you wanted to pick it up at A level, if you're passionate about art and you had a portfolio of work from home, you would still get on the course. Okay, and that's King Ed's. And just to be very quick about it, and because we're sponsored by Dudley College, this is Dudley Sixth, the next sort of A-level provider based in the centre of Dudley. And again, if you just look there, general entry requirements, you will need a minimum of 5 GCSEs, including 2 at grade 6 and 3 at grade 5. English language must be a minimum of grade 4. Okay, and that's just to get into Dudley 6. That's the blanket entry requirements. But then when you start looking at specific A-level courses, again, we'll take computer science at the top there. You will require a grade 6 or higher in maths in addition to the general entry requirements. Again, doesn't mention having had to study computer science in secondary school. Yeah, same with sociology. Yes, we want you to consider sociology. Mr. Sissons is passionate about it. He gets very good results. However, if you wanted to pick sociology up at college, you can see here that it says you will require a grade 6 in English language and a grade 6 in the humanities. It doesn't say you have to have studied sociology in school. So I will end up repeating myself a lot tonight, but as you can see there, really what you're choosing doesn't very often bear any resemblance of you getting onto the next stage of your education. What you are choosing is about enriching your curriculum. It's about, okay, so you're going to work really hard in maths, really hard in English, really hard in science and your humanities. What other subjects alongside that actually do you enjoy doing? Okay, and I think what you've always got to consider that. Okay, what are you good at? What do you enjoy? Okay, and generally, as a rule of thumb for life and for making choices, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Again, don't get hung up on careers. Don't get hung up on what your friends are doing. Don't choose it because of the teacher, but actually, what do you enjoy? Because if you enjoy it, you're going to work hard at it. Yeah, and what are you good at? What do you have an ability in, or what interests you if you've not done it before? Something like child development or catering. Okay, and just to look at the last one really. So that's A-levels. That's young people who want to go into A-levels, possibly onto university. Those of you that then want to go into college and do a level 3 qualification, which is the same level as A-levels, but it's more vocational, it's more work related. Again, this is from Dudley College. So some young people in schools get really hung up on sport. I've got to do sports. I've got to do sport. I want to work in the sports industry. And I think I've got Mr. Taylor here, so he might shout at me in a bit. I've got to do sports, and actually, you reading the level 3 qualification there, you don't actually have to have done a vocational qualification in sport in secondary school to do it when you go to college, to do it at the next level up. What you've got to have is 5 GCSEs at grade 4 or above to include English and maths and an interest in sport. Okay, you can see there straight away that English and maths is getting you there. Same with childcare. Looking at that one there, the entry requirements, 5 GCSEs at grade C or grade 4, maths and English must be 2 of them. So it's saying there to get on the level 3, which is equivalent to A-levels, you must have your maths and English. Okay, and you can see that there. Okay, right. Talked about French. We do want some of you to consider French. Really, there are lots of positives to studying French. It's not about just being able to go to France and speak a language. Actually, the challenge of learning a foreign language improves how your brain works. And there is a study that says actually for those young people that study a language alongside English, their English, their GCSE English results are better, their GCSE English literature results better, because they actually think in language terms. Okay. Makes your brain work faster. You can see it there. A bilingual person's blood flow in the brainstem is greater than a monolingual person. Okay, it's easier to remember lists, sequences, and patterns as a linguist. So again, the way you learn your grammar and your number sequences in a different language benefit you when you're working in maths or working in science. Okay, so again, we're not going to direct people down the French route, but if you are gifted in French and if you enjoy the lessons, I know there's been quite a tough time up there over the last years, but the staff we have in place now are fantastic. It's something I really would like you to consider. Okay, so moving on then to the pathways. So here's all the subjects that we are offering, and as you know, you've got to choose 3 of them. One of those has to be history or geography. Okay, so we've got our art and design GCSEs. The progress that the young people making those subjects is phenomenal. They get some of the best results in the school. However, you know, you have to enjoy it. You have to be committed to it. You can be creative through the art and design GCSEs in a number of different ways, you know, whether that's through photography, whether that's through making things in 3D design. You know, art and design, as people know from Mr. Sharp, isn't just about painting and drawing. Mr. Sharp will find your creative streak and tap into that and whatever works for you. Okay, then we've got our performing arts GCSEs and BTECs, GCSE music, and our performing arts, dance and drama. You know, I'm really keen to try and get groups going in those subjects this year, because, like I say, we've got Mr. Simpson, and he's got a proven track record of getting really good results in GCSE music, and then in dance and drama we've got Mrs. Potter, my vice principal, who, although hasn't taught BTEC performing arts here, was an advanced skills teacher for performing arts back at the last school we were at, and you know, and also director of arts, and knows how to get the best out of young people, and those young people in the school who have for dance at the minute probably know that already. Okay, we've also got sat in there our academic GCSEs, French, sociology, history and geography, and then we've got a range of vocational or work related GCSEs, GCSE equivalent qualifications. So you see the term there, CNAT, that stands for Cambridge National. It's not a GCSE, but it's equivalent to a GCSE. All right. So all of these subjects in this box are related to the world of work. So iMedia, it's related to the world of digital media, whether that's video or whether that's digital graphics, business studies or business and enterprise. Okay, young people get to take a product and take it from design until to marketing and on. Hospitality and catering, obviously, for those of you, that's food technology, cooking, as it's still called by a lot of people. Sports studies, again, very popular in the school, but again, very much aimed at those young people that have an interest in working in the sports industry. But remember what I said earlier, it's not a necessity that you do it at this stage. Okay, and then obviously child development. All of those subjects are usually 50% portfolio and 50% examination. The numbers do vary a little bit. Okay, and that brings its advantages and also its challenges. So, for example, if I look at the academic GCSEs, for example, if your child is really good in examinations, then, but sometimes, for want of better word, a bit horizontal at times and doesn't always put the best of work in when they're in class, academic GCSEs can sometimes work better. Whereas vocational GCSEs or Cambridge Nationals, they require a sustained effort from the beginning of Key Stage 4 all the way to the end. Because if you fall behind in your portfolio work, then you have to claw that back. And okay, so people often see vocational qualifications as easier, but actually I believe sometimes they are actually more challenging because you've got to stay on top of the work, and you've got to be on top of that work from the moment you started at the beginning of the year 10 to the moment you finish it at the end of year 11. Okay, so here's an example of what you might do. So I might, alongside my maths, my English, my 2 sciences, my English literature, I'm going to choose history or geography. Let's say I'm going to choose geography for this one. I'm going to choose a practical subject such as art and design, and then I'm going to choose a vocational subject such as sports studies, because all of those subjects interest me, and all of those subjects I enjoy. Okay. Just to come in on the sports studies, please be aware sports studies is not all practical. Okay. Yes, there is an element of practical leading, but again, the vast majority is portfolio based. So just to get that one out of the way. So that's quite a nice combination: GCSE geography, art, design, and sports studies. You might choose that. Or you might, if you are interested in the baccalaureate, as we said, this aspirational pathway, you might say, okay, right, I'm going to choose GCSE history. That's the subject I enjoy the most. I'm going to choose GCSE French as one of my options because that gets me that baccalaureate qualification, that additional qualification alongside my sciences and maths and English. But because then I'm doing all those really academic GCSEs, I'm gonna do a practical subject for my 8th choice. Do you know what I mean? And again, it comes down to how your child works. Some young people just like all academic GCSEs, and they might choose something like sociology alongside French and history and geography because they like that exam style theoretical sort of study. Other people might think, okay, I'm doing these academic GCSEs, but there's that one lesson a week that I want it to be very different, and I want to be a little bit more expressive and a little bit more creative. And you often see that. You see young people choosing performing arts or music alongside that, or art and design. Okay, there's no right or wrong. It comes down to what is your child's preferred way of working. You know, what is it they enjoy. Okay. And we will guide you and we will advise you. And if we think you've made a mistake, we'll come back and we'll have the conversation. I don't tend to recognize to recommend this one, if I'm honest, because what you've got here are 3 subjects that are very similar: GCSE Art and Design, GCSE Art and Design Photography, and Cambridge National's iMedia. You know, you will do some work with digital images in both iMedia and in art and design. You will do some work with photography in both iMedia and photography. You know, there is crossover. However, if you are a creative person and the creative subjects are a real strength of yours, and that is what you're very focused on and very passionate on, then on the odd occasion, for the right person, choosing subjects that are similar can work for you, right? Because some of the skills cross over, and you actually can take skills that you've learned in art and design, and you can apply them to iMedia, and take skills that you've learned in iMedia and apply them to photography, and that. Like I say, don't recommend it. It's not something we would say for everybody to pick 3 arts-based subjects alongside each other, but in certain circumstances, if that's the way your child works and that's what they're passionate about, then it can work. Okay. What you can't do, however, is do a art and design 3D design alongside the GCSE art and design. That's been deemed by the government to be too similar. The subject is too similar to each other. And if you accidentally did that, if you accidentally chose that pathway, art and design, 3D design, and sociology, we would come back to you, and we would have a conversation and say, actually, no, that's gonna those 2 are going to cancel each other out, and so one won't count for you. So we need to look at it. For some strange reason, you can do photography alongside it, but you can't do 3D design again, because they've been deemed too similar. All right. Okay. So I'm nearly there. What not to do when choosing your options, Donna's story. I'm not going to play the video, but because it's essentially what I've been saying to you. You know, it's not about what your friends do. It's not about you know, getting this across to young people is incredibly hard, that actually when they go to college, more than likely their friendship groups will change, and yes, they still might remain friends with those young people they were at school, but their interests will become very different and their pathways will become very different. Okay, and what we want to make sure is that your child is following their pathway and what they want to do, and what interests them. Okay, so just going back to it, don't choose it because their friend's doing it. Don't choose it because they like the teacher, because the teacher may change. Okay, and again, don't choose it because you think your career's hung up on it. Okay, and I think that's it really. Tonight, really, as it says there, give people enough guidance to make the decisions you want them to make. Yet we want you to make the right decisions. We're not telling you what to do, as we've said at this minute. We just want to know what you're interested in doing. Okay, whatever you choose, and this last statement's important. We want to encourage you to do your best. You know, going back to some of these college courses. Let's have a look. If you look at the BTEC Level 3 National in Sport, it says there 5 GCSEs at grade 4 to include English and Maths. Now, we don't want your child just saying, oh, I grade 4 and above in English and Maths. You know, we don't want them saying that. We actually want them saying, I want to get the highest grade possible. Yeah, I want to get a 5. I want to get a 6. I want to get a 7. I want to get the highest grade possible in as many subjects as possible, because actually, if I change my mind, yeah, and I don't want to do the diploma in sport, I am going to get more. I'm going to get more options. I'm going to get more choices. All right, more doors will open for me. Okay, so sometimes we're set up by the colleges a little bit, because the mindset then of the young people is, I only need that grade to get in. And what we've got to do, and going back to the slide at the end, is we want to encourage them to do their best at all times to try and get the highest grade possible. All right, that's it from me. If you've got any questions